Let me see. And okay, we're live. Hey, how's it
Mhm.
going, everybody? Back here with the Deadhead Podcast. It's been about a good month now. Have my buddy Jan back with us. How you doing, Jan?
I'm doing
Talk to
great.
the
What
people.
about you?
Been good, man. Been good. I'm glad to have you back. And I'd like to apologize for my hiatus. I've been on the grind here lately, trying to build the channel. I have telling Jan that's got an Instagram up, moving on up in the world. Have my own personal Instagram, but I figured it would probably be smarter to have an actual podcast channel Instagram, which is working out okay so far. I'm trying to get more of a build up on that side. I have a Twitter up now. I also have a maybe that's it. Oh, and then with the YouTube, I did change the logo because the logo that I had, I was using it from somebody else, and I just felt like I wanted to make my own logo, so I went ahead and made another one. I wasn't like illegally using it, but I wanted my
Well,
own. I wanted my own logo. So
better be safe than sorry.
yeah, yeah. So I went ahead and changed it. So we should be good, and everything's going good. I hope everybody's doing good today, and it feels good to be back, man. So how's everything been going, Jan?
Just done with exams, so that's good. That's a
Oh
relief.
yeah,
And so I finally have some time for things like this, for the
right.
podcast. And
Yeah,
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 summer's just begun for me.
yeah,
Trying to
yeah. I'm
relax.
I'm eager to have you back. I'm glad we're doing this. So thank you for coming on, man.
Oh no, you're welcome.
I mean, I know, I try not to be too pushy. I appreciate that. One of my main things is I know that it can be an inconvenience to a lot of people to take their time to just chill and talk with me for a little bit. But especially with just starting out and everything like that. I just want to get into a good rhythm with these podcasts. If I can do it, I would like to eventually do once a week, but if I can do every other week for now, that's more than enough. That way gives me a week rest to do whatever. So, and I know with you being
Yeah.
a lot farther than me, you're not a hop, skip, and a jump like most people would be if to have someone around here to be on the show. So I appreciate you staying up with me, man. I know you kind of look tired, man. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't
Well,
mean to keep
it
you
is
up,
what
man.
I am.
Right, right.
uh,
Shoot, I don't want to keep you from any sleep, man. So I definitely appreciate you. We won't keep you too long, man. I'd like to keep these to an
nah,
hour if we can do
as I said, it's summer.
it.
So I have all the time in the world. It's
What so? I mean, what kind of stuff are you gonna be doing now? You'll have a little bit of free time. So what you gonna do? I mean, besides being
oh
on
well.
being on the show, I mean, what else are you gonna do?
Well, relaxing mostly. My kind of vacation is one where I just don't think. I don't plan. I don't do anything. I
Yeah,
kind of just wait for things to happen. People to
right.
hit me up to invite me to places. Because yeah, I'm done planning. I've been planning all year. I'm
Yeah,
so
I hear
yeah. This
that. I hear
this this
that.
is how I chill. So
Yeah, I
what
mean,
about you? How are you? How are your summer plans?
well, working really, working and growing the podcast, growing the show. Because I've been kind of having a a harder time. And I think we talked about this a little bit on the podcast last time, which is I feel so long ago now, but it doesn't seem like it, does it? I mean, time really flies because I feel like we did this not too long ago, but when you look back at the time last when we did the last video, it's been like I don't know,
Two
like
months?
it probably yeah, and it's
Yeah.
crazy because but I've been trying to find motivation to keep going, and it's been and that sounds so depressing. I don't mean it like that. Like as far as going on in life, I'm fine, but like going on with doing this besides just coming home, working, hanging out with the wife, and just going to sleep maybe playing a game or whatever. But with help from people like you and stuff like that, I'm trying to just really keep doing this kind of thing and keep doing it because I enjoy doing it, and I'm hoping it'll keep growing. So what I'm going to be doing is probably just trying to grow the channel and working because right now, with I don't know how it is around where you're at, but over here in America, like it costs money to breathe nowadays.
Yeah.
so
Well,
so we're just we're saving up. Not that we're doing bad, but just trying to save for a beat. We got a beach trip planned next year. Let me just put it that way. So
right.
we'll probably be sticking around here for a little while.
One of the reasons why I try to be on the podcast is because I'm seeing your enthusiasm and see how much you put into this, and I
Yeah.
kind of want to make it happen. It sounds like
Oh
such a
yeah.
great idea.
Yeah, no, no. Like I said, I appreciate it. If I can inspire you in some way, then I feel like I'm doing my job because I was watching a YouTuber I watch. His name is Gamer2323. Not that he watches my podcast, but maybe eventually might roll up on it one day. And he was
Uh,
talking. He deals with not to get really dark on you here, but he talks about gaming, but he'll do like every now and then, like every like 5 or 6 videos, he'll talk about mental health, because he struggles with that kind of thing. And so he just kind of it's called a mental health check. Like, and he has a numerical
mm,
video, how many times he does it. And he was talking about how, like, getting out of your comfort zone, the hardest part is just starting. And after you do it, you'll start feeling more comfortable with it. And I think that goes with anything. Like, if you say you need to get in shape and you want to work out, it's hard the first couple of workouts, but if you do it, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, up to 10 times, eventually you'll be like, wow, I get to work out today. Or, well, nobody likes working out, but we'll be like, okay, well, we don't mind it as much because we've already done it at this point.
yeah, no, it
So
becomes a routine, of course.
yeah. So, I don't know if I want to compare like the podcast to a routine, but at the same time, I'd like to be on some sort of routine where we want to do it and we're excited to do it, and to have you on because, I mean, dude, I thought that video we did I keep calling it video, the podcast we did last time. I thought that was great, man. It was a good conversation, and we didn't really get to even deep dive into really major topics. We just sprinkled on everything, which is fine. I mean, that's the whole in a podcast. You don't really, unless you're doing like a 3 to 4 hour show, like you just sprinkling on stuff. Unless you're like a Joe Rogan where you're like, you talk about things for like an hour. Like he'll talk about like trying
Right.
DMT for like an hour. And then, so yeah, but yeah, that sounds good. So you're just going to really be hanging out. You'll be catching up on some games, right?
Oh well, that's the plan. Yeah, no, I have a backlog. I have a few games backed up.
All right. What is
I'm
it?
ready.
Tell me.
Well, one game that I actually shaved off quite recently is Vanquish. Don't know if you ever heard of it.
Vanquished. I have heard of it, but what is it about?
So
I've heard of
it's
it,
made.
but
So it's made by Platinum Games, which is like they're doing some bigger games now. They're mostly focused on like action games. They really focus on the combat systems. Like they did Bayonetta, they did Nier Automata.
Oh,
So and Vanquish is their crack at doing a shooter. It's a third-person shooter,
oh,
Japanese made. And it looks at first it may seem like a cover-based shooter. You have you duck from cover, and then as soon as the guys stop shooting, you shoot at them. But it's actually has a great emphasis on action, of getting up into their faces. You can like
Really?
sprint if you have this suit, this high-tech suit, which makes you sprint very fast towards the enemy. You can slow down time. It's great fun, but you gotta
Wow.
balance it out because the suit can overheat, right?
Oh, okay.
If you sprint for too long, if you use the bullet time mechanic for too long, or if you get hit too much, it overheats. So you gotta play it safe a bit. It's great fun. Yeah, I recommend it. And it's really
Vanquish.
short. It's like the campaign is like 5 hour long.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's really
Yeah.
short. That's fine. I mean, that is. I do consider that like probably too short. But I mean, I don't know how you are, but in my now with, I mean, well, you probably are the same way with school and everything. It's almost like you almost prefer shorter games in this day of age. Like I love the big open worlds and we talked about open worlds last time, how they get a little bit of played out, but I like big open worlds with a long, like 50-hour story and stuff. But sometimes, like with God of War Ragnarok coming out, like that's actually, I heard that's going to be 40 hours, by the way. I don't know if you heard that.
Really?
I heard it's supposed to be 40 hours, but that's last I heard, though. I don't know how true that is. I heard that from, just a couple channels that I've been watching. But if it's a 40-hour campaign, that's a long game. That is a long story,
I wouldn't worry though, because I don't know if you remember, but I used to say about Dying Light 2 that it's going to be like 200 hours long or some shit like that.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Actually, it was, I think, honestly, I mean, you might be right about that. But I think they were advertising 500.
I don't know. I think you're right. It's 500 for the 100%.
Yeah. And I mean, and who's going to play? I mean, look, I got about halfway through Dying Light 2. I don't know if you played it or not.
I haven't touched it.
I mean, I would tell you to try it. I mean, did you like the first one?
I haven't played the first one either.
Well, there you go, right there. I don't even know if it's worth it. I mean, the first one is good, is good, right? But the second one, it takes everything that was bad about the second one and kind of amplifies it in this one. It's really strange.
God.
Like the thing that was crazy about the first Dying Light, and I'm sure I'm probably just like beating a dead horse here, but the thing about the first Dying Light was like the nighttime. Like when every nasty creature you could think of comes out, they can run as fast as you. And so like you'll be on the rooftops running from building to building, and like you have them like breathing down your neck. And it is like the most
Well, that's
exhilarating
cool.
thing ever. Yeah. You have like these things, I can't remember what they're called, but they're like, so obviously it's a zombie game. Look how many of those we got.
Mhm.
But the
Well, it
main
was 2013, right?
yeah,
That's a
right.
zombie here.
Yeah, but that's right. Yeah, and see, I'm a big zombie guy. I mean, Deadhead podcast,
Mm.
so that kind of sums it up. But there was the one enemy that would chase you. He was called like the Night Hunter or something like that, and he was
Mhm.
like a really big, like monstrous xenomorph kind of looking zombie. It was so weird. It's a weird design, and like he would come after you, and he was so much quicker than you, where you'd be like just rushing to try to get to like you got these safe zones like all around the city, and they had like they don't like ultraviolet light, like they like it presses them away, like they just can't stand it. And so and that made it really fun. In Down Light 2, they kind of make it like, like in GTA, like the more crime you commit, the more stars pop up on the map. Like how many,
All right. Yeah, yeah.
how much of the police is coming after you. Now they do in this, like the farther you run away from like a horde running behind you, it's like had like a star system. Like the stars would go up each time. And I'm like, what is that?
If you're
Like
more
what
of a
kind of
criminal, what
that
sense
kind
does
of
that make?
that kind of takes me out of it. That's not immersive anymore. Now I feel like I'm just playing like a one of those games where I'm trying to get like a high score almost. It's not
Yeah,
what am I
GTA
playing?
clone. Yeah.
What I'm playing like Space Invader or something. It's not. It doesn't feel like Dying Light to me.
Well, okay, so I haven't played the first one, but I do remember that it didn't sell too well.
Oh, it did.
So no, I don't think it did. I think with Dying Light 2, they really tried to spice it up a bit. Trying to
Yeah.
understand, trying to nudge it in the right direction. Kind
Right.
of try to find its own footing, and that might be the direction they went for. More arcadey feel.
Wow.
Racking up points and shit like that. But
Because
it's just conjecture from my part.
I mean, they've supported that game. Let's see. That game came out. Did it come out in 2013 or I don't know, somewhere
I
around
believe it.
there?
I mean, I think so because it's a zombie video game, and every zombie video game came out in 2013.
Yeah.
In my head.
No,
The
no, you're
Last
right.
of Us, Walking Dead, all
Yeah.
those.
No, you're right. I mean, but I mean, for it had a huge shelf life. Like the shelf life went on for
Yeah.
a long time because they kept adding updates and they just put the I have it on the Series X, and they just did the Series X update to it. They added all the skins that you can get in there. They've added all the DLC, which I think they only had like one major DLC. The Following, I think that's what it's called. They had that, and I mean, like, so they've supported this game for years. So I mean, obviously, people must have
Well,
bought
then
it,
I might be
but
wrong. Then, yeah.
yeah. But Dying Light 2, I'm sure it underperformed because when people started seeing the gameplay, it's not that it's really that bad. It's just compared to the first one, I don't know. It sucks. to
Yeah,
the
no, I
first
get
one,
it.
it's just not as good. Speaking of first games, let me ask your opinion on this. I know it's been a while since we talked. Are you we were talking about The Last of Us last time we were on
Right.
here. Last of Us 1
Are we
remake.
talking about the remake?
Are you buying it or no?
All right. So here's the story, right?
Okay.
I heard rumors, right? People were talking about The Last of Us 1 remake, and I thought it was the most ridiculous thing ever. Like, the game didn't come out not even 10 years ago, right? What are you
That's true.
remaking, right?
Right,
What are you going
right.
to do? And not only that, I think it had a remaster too, like 1 year after release.
They did
So,
on PS4.
how many times can you re-release a game in one decade, right?
Right.
And then they announced The Last of Us Part 1, and I could not. I was flabbergasted, right? And then I saw the
Right.
price tag, which I know you're in the US. I think it's like $70.
So yeah, 70. Yeah.
Well, over here it's 80 euro.
Oh
It's
shit.
no, I don't know what they're thinking, right? So, but despite all that, right? Despite my disbelief and all, I did pre-order it. I'm that much of a sucker.
Right. Yeah, I was waiting for you winning all that. Just be like, yeah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, no. I mean, I saw the trailer, man. And I just they deserve it. Honestly, they deserve it.
Yeah.
It's such a good game. And honestly, it does look. I'm not that mad that they're updating it because it does look really nice, right? It's a price tag.
Yeah.
It's like what And I saw the developers they posted something that said it's out of their hands, like it's not up to them. So I'm inclined to believe that.
It's not up to them as far as what the game is priced for.
Yeah,
Is that what you mean?
it's more of a marketing
It's more
thing,
like
really.
like a corporate decision. Like
And it makes sense if you think about it.
Yeah, I've seen. Do you have Twitter?
I do not, but I am in the loop.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say, one, give me a follow. Two, I followed the Naughty Dog page, and they were talking about how, so they've been hearing the complaints and hearing the backlash about the $70 price tag, and then re-releasing. Well, I mean, I know it's a remake, but they're re-releasing a game that, yeah, like you say, it's not even 10 years old. And what they said was their rebuttal to that is that even though this is a remake, apparently this is supposed to be the most intuitive, most detailed, vibrant, most like intricate world they have created in a game in a long time. So they're like, they're even putting this like past like Last of Us Part 2, which I mean, as far as the story goes, that's not that hard to do. But I mean, like, I imagine it's going to look better than Last of Us Part 2, because you got to think at the end of the day, it's still a PS4 game. They haven't upscaled it to PS5, which, I mean, a lot of people say, well, what does that matter? PS4 and PS5 don't look that much different. Well, you got me there to a certain extent, but as far as like the minor details and stuff, like if you're looking at if you're looking at Joel's shirt, right? He wears a lot of like this button up shirts. Like if you can see
the tweed
like
ones,
in the trailer, you can see like every thread. It's like stuff like that I pay
incredible.
attention to, you know? And I think, I mean, is it worth the $70 or $80? Man, I don't know. I mean, for me it is. I mean,
yeah, exactly. It comes down to that, right? I mean, it's
and see, I don't know where you do a lot of your pre-orders and stuff. I'm one of the old heads that still use GameStop a lot for my stuff. I mean, I just do. I look. I'm probably still keeping them in business, to be honest. And
one-man army, just
yeah, right. I know. I don't know anybody who shops. And look, when I go there, I still see a bunch of people stand in line and go there, but I don't know anybody personally that uses it. But anyway, like with how pre-orders work at GameStop, you don't have to put like the full $70 or $80 on it. So like, I think I have it pre-ordered, but I don't have it completely paid off, because I mean, like $70, $80 is expensive, and especially for a remake, for a game I've beaten like 4 times. You know, I've probably beaten Last of Us 4 times. I'm probably.
Oh yeah, maybe more than that. And I bought it now 3 times with the remake. Yeah, it's
right.
Well, to answer your question, I mostly don't shop on GameStop anymore because their prices are absolutely absurd. Well, the thing is, most game stores, what they do is a few months after the game is released, they lower the price way down, right? Yeah. Almost halfway. GameStop doesn't do that. You can find like a 5-year-old game there, and it's like still at full price. But yeah, when it comes to pre-orders, I mean, it depends. Sometimes they have like a cool trinket with it. Like, I don't know if you remember with Cyberpunk, at least in Italy, if you pre-order Cyberpunk, you got a cool comic with it. And I thought, all right, that warrants, pre-order on my book, right?
That's awesome.
But mostly I go to, so I don't know if I should be saying this, but I go to like eBay, right?
Okay.
And they have these resellers, and I don't know how they make it work. But you can like pre-order games like way ahead of time, sometimes even before the release date is announced.
Right.
You pay like €30 less. Like I pre-ordered The Last of Us Part 1, the remake, for like €50. And I don't know how they make it work. I don't know what kind of money laundering is happening there. But and I'm just kind of getting the games,
Well, I mean, as long as you can trust me, you get your game. And as a side note too, I won't go into it yet, but you mentioned Cyberpunk. I got a whole thing. I put a video on the channel about it, and which I can talk about that in a minute. I know we're talking about something else, but I don't know if you've beaten the game or not. I'll say this, and then I'll continue what I'm saying about GameStop. But I would say look into it again if you haven't beaten it yet or you never played it. I would definitely check it out. That's been my main game right now. I've been playing that.
Oh, really? Yeah. No, okay. So what happened with Cyberpunk is, being a console gamer, like I bought it, right? I pre-ordered it.
Yeah, me too.
I got the copy. Seeing what what the game looks like, right? What the state it was in. I was like, all right, this is getting on the shelf.
Yeah.
And as soon as it becomes playable, I'll play it again. And I think it probably has come to that. You can even like upgrade it to PS5 for free.
Yeah.
You know, get rid of the PS5 version. So yeah, that's on the backlog as well. That's it's up there.
Yeah, I recommend it. And also too, it's not a super long story. I think the story's on like 12 hours, I think. So even if you didn't want to like go to every like side quest, which I will say, like, because it's CD Projekt Red, they focus a lot on the side quests. You know, I mean, if you play, obviously, who hasn't played The Witcher?
The Witcher 3.
I put so much time in that game. I still haven't even finished it because I put like well over like 200 hours because there's so much stuff you can do.
Oh my God.
And it's one of those open worlds that feels alive and I don't get bored of. CD Projekt Red does a good job with that. And even in Cyberpunk, they do the same thing. Like the side quests have just as good stories as the main. And I don't even think the main story is like all that. You know, I'll be honest with you. It's all right, you know. But I mean, if you're playing it for the main story, I'd play it for all the other stuff. Because if you going out in the world, having Keanu Reeves pop up just out of nowhere in a corner talking shit to you the whole time, and you know, you get to partake in some cool cyber sex and all. It's nuts. Yeah, dude, it's nuts.
There are sex scenes.
Yes. Actually, I was telling my wife. My wife looked at me funny when I was telling her, but I wasn't saying it to be like that. I was just saying, so I don't know how much you know of the story, so I'll try to keep it light. But
I only know that Keanu Reeves is a ghost that lives inside your head.
Yep.
And that's all I know.
Yeah. So there's like scenes in the game where you go back because like so he's a ghost, but he died like 50 years prior to the game's story. So you'll go back to when he was alive, and there's literally a section of the game where you like so he was like a rock star / terrorist. That's so weird.
Right.
And so like he's on stage, he's singing and he's rocking out, and then he goes back to his room, and his girlfriend's waiting for him there, and like they slap each other, like it's first person. So you slap her and then she slaps you, you know, like that generic romantic comedy shit.
Of course.
And you end up banging, and it's so like funny.
In first person?
Yeah, first person, yeah. It doesn't like show everything, you know, but I mean like if you'll definitely have for sure like boobs in your face for sure. Right. You know, they go all out on the nudity as far as especially the females for sure.
Well, one thing that I know about the game is that you can like in the character creation screen, you can like customize your genitals.
Yeah,
you can make all kind of crazy shit with that.
Yeah, it's like the attention to detail of that part alone is scary. It's terrifying.
Yeah, someone had a fetish.
Yeah, like seriously, man, why would you do that? Like they got a whole like slider and everything. Like you can put. I mean, I don't even know why we're talking about this right now. It's just really like it's really interesting. All right. It's really it's really. I've been saying the word intuitive a lot, but it is. It's like really detailed with how they, you know. I don't know why. But whatever, you know. But I say,
you know.
Yeah. I will say though that it's worth like I don't know where it is in your backlog. I'm not saying it's got to be the first game you play because right now it's kind of dead in gaming right this second. You know, until The Last of Us, Saints Row, and stuff like that comes out. But I will say if you got some time to kill and maybe you don't get invited to any cookouts or something, check out Cyberpunk. I don't think you'll be disappointed because I feel like I know you enough where I feel like I think you would like the story and the world a lot because it is really cool. Like that setting is awesome.
For it alone, that's why I pre-ordered it. I just looked at the trailers, right? Yeah. And I saw this fantastic. Like there was this lady with like half her head missing, but he had a bunch of wires there. It's so weird and it's so cyberpunk. And I'm really into that shit. Yeah.
Yeah. And with the update, with the update, Night City, the setting you're in, it feels pretty alive. I wouldn't say it's like Red Dead 2 alive. Like I'm not saying like it's that realistic, and honestly, it's not. If you're playing a game like that, it's not going to be realistic, obviously. But yeah, I mean, it's honestly, it surprised me like how good it is, and I wish more people would give it a chance. That's why I've made. Oh, you know, another thing I forgot to mention at the start of this podcast was I actually have a TikTok too. And TikTok too. I have a TikTok account for the podcast as well, where I'll put like mini clips and like
Mhm.
clips of videos that I make and stuff like that. And one of the videos I talk about Cyberpunk and probably I try to put some gameplay up, and I'm really advertising for this company. Like I'm waiting for a check.
Well, they deserve it. It is. You're just waiting for royalties to come, right?
Yeah, no,
Uh,
I don't expect to. Look, I'm just trying to show people that it's not a bad game. Like if I can make a sale, if I can make them sell, I don't know, 5,000 more copies, I'd be fine with that.
yeah, no, I mean, this is kind of a problem in like the gaming community. People really like to bash things, right?
Mm-hmm.
As soon as there's some, okay, evidently there were major concerns with Cyberpunk, right?
Okay.
But they take like a few issues, as major as they might be, and then translate it into the game is shit. No part of this game is worth looking into.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that in Cyberpunk. There was the same thing for The Last of Us Part 2, right? The game, many, including you, the story, I mean, didn't really like it. So they said, okay, the entire game is shit, which is, you cannot put it like that, just look at the attention to detail, the gameplay. All that. You can't just scuff it out like that.
That game is a masterpiece in its own right. Like I look, as much as I don't like the story, I mean, come on, I can't deny the gameplay is solid. The world is beautiful. The enemies are awesome. Like I love that. Like even though you can say like the NPCs and like the human characters are kind of stupid, you can say that like they're not the smartest. Like I'm playing. I'll sneak right behind one of them, and I know damn well they could probably hear me, but they're just like not even paying attention, and then they get knifed in the neck, and it's like obviously okay, whatever. But like as far as anything else, man, it's beautiful. It's like it really. I've been thinking about going back and playing it again and get ready for this one, but it's like you said in the last one, the story is so depressing that I just don't know if I'm going to go through that. But I also don't want to just do the random encounters. Like you can go on there and actually do all of the encounters. But I don't want to do that. I want to play through the story, and that way, when I get to the encounters, it's more impactful to me. Does that make sense?
It has more meaning.
Yeah, like I'm moving through something as opposed to okay, this part in the game was really awesome. Let me do that. I don't want to do that.
Well, this is a bit off topic, but I mean, we're still talking about The Last of Us 2. But recently, I haven't played it through, but like I watched, let's say like all the cutscenes in one, right? And as much as I'm one of the few that like the story, but there are a few things. They're just they're incredibly stupid. Like you remember that part for the so as soon as you start playing as Abby, you go like on a mission.
Okay.
And the pregnant lady comes with you.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. That I was like, and they even like make a comment of it, like she calls shotgun, right?
Right.
But they didn't let her driving in the passenger seat, and someone says, "Oh well, she's pregnant. Should let her drive there." She shouldn't be here at all.
Why is she there?
Yeah.
Like why is she there? Yeah.
No, there are a few things that I just don't know. I think they just had like a brain fart,
Yeah,
well, like, just gave up.
Yeah, like they had look. I see the appeal of the story. Like I was watching. There's something I was watching just recently that made me think of The Last of Us because it was talking about revenge, and it makes me think of. I'm gonna quote something, man. If you haven't played it, it's okay. You've played Red Dead Redemption 2, right? That's like one of my favorite games of all time. Red Dead 2.
That's also in the backlog.
Oh my Lord, Jan, come on!
I'm so sorry, dude. I'm so sorry.
Dude. All right, goodbye.
Again, kicked out. All right, it was good seeing you.
Oh no! All right, so the main character in that game, Arthur Morgan, man, that game's a masterpiece. Anyway, one of the things he says in the game is "Revenge and vengeance is a fool's game," is what he says. And I like that line that he says is because he's basically it doesn't matter. Like you can get revenge on like someone who did you wrong, but it really doesn't fix anything because it just never stops. Like it goes with everything. Like Joel killing Abby's dad, and then Abby killing Joel, and then Ellie wants to kill Abby, and she ends up killing some of her friends instead, and then Abby kills some of her friends, and it just never stops, and it just keeps going. And like really, so getting revenge and seeking vengeance is. I get what they were trying to tell, but it's like I've seen it done so many times and done better too. I think that's one of my main reasons I don't like the story that much. It's really not that bad.
You've seen it done better.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of a movie or TV show where I felt like I've seen it better, but I can't give you one. I'll have to think about that and I'll get back to you. But I feel like I've
All
seen
right.
a revenge story told a little bit better than that. Like it
I mean,
just,
it's a revenge as old as time, right?
yeah,
It's a story as old as time.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
yeah, I trust you on that. I guess the reason why I like it so much is that the main characters are characters that I got to know in The Last of Us Part One. Like, the scene with Joel at the beginning, I
yeah,
was
dude.
heartbroken. I
Yeah,
could not. Um, and I think they really played. They played me good when halfway through it, they make me play as Abby, like Joel's killer, which is this one person. I wanted to fucking kill her so bad, right?
yeah.
And they make me play as her,
Hmm.
and then I kind of start to understand. Like, I don't forgive her, but I start to understand her, right? I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
that's what I like about it. They kind of, it is a bit
yeah,
half-assed, but
yeah.
they kind of, you see.
They try to make you see that she's a good person, and I'm sure she is, but it's just hard, man. I mean
Mm.
and like I say, like when you think about it, like look, I'm a big which I've died off here in recent years, but as you probably know, I'm a huge Walking Dead fan. I've always been a Walking Dead fan, probably always will be. And one of the things that I've always made the argument on is we follow this group of characters since the beginning of the show,
Mhm.
and we see all the horrible things they've done, all the people they've killed, and everybody they've done wrong and got to this point. And then they meet a character called Negan. And I don't know if you know much about Negan, but he wears a black jacket, has a baseball bat,
Okay.
bashes people's heads in. Does that sound
All right.
familiar
I
to you?
actually know a few about The Walking Dead because I'm reading through the comics. I'm
Oh,
halfway
really?
there, so
Oh, no
yeah, I'm getting.
way.
I have
I
like
have
this
all of them.
beautiful omnibus collection. It's they're like 8 huge volumes that I got at a discount.
Really, dude. I
Mm.
got all the volumes. I have every volume of The Walking Dead. I have dude, I got like 200 or 300 comics. Right now I'm collecting. We're bouncing all over the place. I have they were re-releasing all the Walking Dead comics in color.
Mhm.
So I've been
Oh, I
collecting each
saw that.
one.
Oh, you're
So
rebuying them in color?
dude, I have to.
God, you're
I mean,
such a nerd.
I do the fucking I do crazy. But anyway, so get back to
Okay,
what I
so
was
we are
saying.
talking Negan, right?
So
Yeah.
have you met Negan yet? Have you met him
Yes,
in the
I know
comics?
about him. The whole
Okay.
story arc I read. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So All Out War. So you've already read all that. So
Mhm.
Negan, Negan is the villain of the story when you get to that point. But really, when you look at it, is he really that bad? You know what I mean? Because we've all at this point, like even if we survived in this world that they created, we've all had to do bad shit to get to this
Right.
point. So let's say if we followed the story from Negan, which we do that a little bit in the show. They do a couple episodes
Oh.
about his backstory, and they also show it in the comics. They have I wish I knew you collected them. I would have went and got them. I have Here's Negan. It's a backstory for Negan, and it was like released in like several parts in a magazine, and they put it all in a volume.
Oh, cool.
I might maybe when we get off of here, I'll send it to you through Messenger or something, like a
Sure.
picture of it. But anyway, in that story, it shows you his progression, losing his wife. I'm sorry, I'm getting spoiled. I'm sorry, man. You need to watch. You just need to read it and you'll.
Can't do me like
Anyway,
that.
it goes through his story, and you're like, okay, well, he's really not that bad of a guy. He's just a very sadistic, narcissistic asshole that kills people's family members right in front of them for fun and laughs and jokes about it.
Well,
Like really, but when you see everything that Rick Grimes has done from the very beginning, I mean, who's really the bad guy here? You know what I mean?
well, yeah. The trick they use in that story, in the comic, and I'm guessing in the show too, is that they always make it look like it's they make him choose between what's right and what's easy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So even the most horrible things he's done, he doesn't enjoy doing them. He doesn't because that's what you're supposed to do. Well, with Negan, and at least in the main story arc, he's always portrayed as this really, as you said, a sadistic piece of shit. He just really enjoys hurting other people. So that's why it's really hard to be on his side.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess yes, a case could be made that this world made him like that, right? He's as
Right.
much as a victim as anyone here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we can't really blame him.
Yeah. I think everybody has to survive in their own way. Now, like you said, you read that whole story arc, so I'm not gonna say anything about the show, but at least you've read that story arc, so I can talk a little bit. But like, yeah, now him creating the saviors and having all these people kind of looking up to him as if, well, he's their savior almost. Yeah, you could say that's villainous, right? Because he's using them for his own personal gain. Like one of the things that Negan says in both the comics and the show, and he says that people are a resource. That's like his big thing, right? He doesn't really want to come out and kill all communities. He wants to kill one to prove a point, and then everybody else falls in line. That's like one of his, biggest things. So like, that's bad. That is bad. I'm not going to say it's not, but you also can't really say that he's completely villainous either. I will fight anybody on that. I just don't think, I'm a big
I can see where he's coming
so.
from, right?
Yeah.
You can't do that kind of shit, It's like, I know you want to set an example. That makes completely sense. Like, he's not batshit insane. That's what you're trying to say. He does make sense. But I think there are way more, I don't know, peaceful ways to do this,
Yeah.
Although it might come at a loss, right? If you try to do it the peaceful way, people might take advantage of you. That's his case. He doesn't want to do that. He wants to take advantage of others. It's a dog-eat-dog world. So I guess
he rules with fear. Like if you look at even if you look at our own history, like you look out throughout world history, you see all these like great leaders. And if you look at what's the main thing that makes all these leaders kind of resemble each other? They're all kind of smaller people. Like they're all very like small, and I mean, there's a couple that are kind of taller and bigger guys, but most of the time, like if you think about like Napoleon Bonaparte and these guys, like like Napoleon wasn't like everybody wants to act like he was like 3 foot tall. He wasn't. He was probably about I don't know how tall he was, but he was a pretty short guy, pretty small. But he ruled with fear. A lot of these guys rule with fear, and that's kind of what Negan does in Walking Dead. Is he just
it's textbook tyrant, pretty much.
Yeah, and I think you would. So you haven't watched any of the show at all?
No, I haven't. I actually have a bit of a problem with TV shows. I can never keep up.
Oh, really?
That's why I went with that comic. Because that's something I actually enjoy doing. I just have this huge comic book collection at home.
I think you would like the comics better anyway. I mean, the show when it hits its main plot points that you see in the comics, they do a phenomenal job. But they don't know what to do with
in the meantime.
Yeah, like a lot of filler. It's got to the point now. It's like there's 8 more episodes and the show is over. And I'm over here like, thank God, because I've been following it since I've been with it since the very beginning. So like I can't stop now. I have to watch it.
Right.
But I hate that I
can respect that.
I hate that I'm that guy though. I can't stand it. I wish I could quit just like everybody else did, but I'm like 8 episodes left. I can't.
Most people quit. I mean, I know nothing about the show. Do people not like it anymore?
No, it's honestly, it's probably more popular to hate it than like it. Like, to be honest, I'm like the last of a dying breed. Like, I don't think it's like the worst show on television, but I do think too, it's definitely nowhere near the best. Like it's really like I'm watching. I think I told you last time. I've been watching Better Call Saul, which is phenomenal TV, and it's a branch off of Breaking Bad, which is another show that's phenomenal. And you go and watch these shows, and then you go back and you watch freaking Walking Dead, and you're like, dude, like night and day. Like I know it's like different writers and stuff. I get that, but it's like, dude, how can writing be so bad on this one? Like, how can you let the writing get so bad on Walking Dead, and then you have these other shows that are just flourishing right now? Another one, I will say another one to watch. If I know you don't watch many shows, but if you've got some free time,
I happen to
watch The Boys on Amazon Prime. I think you'll like that one. If you like it's like a.
I've never heard of that one.
So it's called The Boys, and it's on Amazon Prime, and it's
basically The Boys. Oh, I know about that. That's a superhero one. Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
I have been planning on watching that one. Actually.
Yeah, it's not a normal superhero show. It's very rough.
Well, that's kind of what I like about it, because the standard superhero stuff doesn't really entice me anymore. Ever since ever since I turned 14. So does that mean I don't know?
A little bit, but I'm fine with it because I don't care about them anymore either. I think to get on. So yeah, definitely check out The Boys. But that brings me to another thing I was going to. So you're not really caught up on the MCU at all. So you have you really not really been watching any of the Marvel movies?
It's difficult to not be caught up. Okay. Everyone on the internet is talking about it. And I do watch, like, I have a few friends, who are into that. And sometimes they invite me, to the cinema to watch it. So I happen to watch. My knowledge is very dispersed. Like for each phase, and maybe for every like 5 movies, I watched one.
Oh, okay.
But every time I go watch one, they know that I don't watch all of them. So I always try to recap it to me. They go, "Oh yeah, so
Okay.
in this film, there's just one scene. There's a mid-roll sequence during the credits that
Right.
that is more important than the entire movie." Okay, you know what's my problem with these Marvel movies? Is that they feel like, and I figured out what I don't like about them. Well, why I don't like them as much as others. Each movie doesn't feel like a movie. Like, I don't want to go all, they're not cinema. I don't want to say that, but
Yeah.
they don't feel like a complete work. They feel like one episode of like a Sunday morning cartoon. They feel like one Ninja Turtle episode. Like, I don't know if you watched the newest Doctor Strange movie.
Oh yeah, I have. I've seen it.
Yeah, just think about the structure, right? The structure of that movie. So a new character comes in, which
Okay.
and introduces a whole new conflict we never heard about before.
Okay.
The same conflict is resolved in the span of maybe an hour, right? And it's like a huge thing, right? Oh, there's a multiverse, but don't worry about that, right? We beat a bad guy. It's all good.
Yeah. Right.
That's like Ninja Turtles to me, or Ben 10, right? In the span of a half an hour, they introduce this mind-boggling concept. But by the end, you gotta meet the quota. You gotta go by the end, where at the end of the episode, it always has to go back to phase one. It's all good in the neighborhood.
Right.
That's what I feel these movies are, right? If you watch them like very long episodes, the entire MCU is like a TV show. And each movie is like a very long episode. You can enjoy it more. Those are my 2 cents on that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I feel like, I'm the same way. Like a cartoon is a good comparison. I also say they all feel like run of the mill same movies. Like I will say, I feel like Multiverse of Madness does something, a little bit different. I'm a big like horror fan. I love horror movies and stuff. So like, I love the stuff with, spoiler alert, by the way, anybody watching this who hasn't seen it, but Scarlet Witch is just a straight up monster. And I think this movie could have done well with a rated R rating, because you finally have Sam Raimi to direct it. And Sam Raimi is like, he loves directing horror. So even like in the original Spider-Man movies, like a Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire, where you got Doc Ock, he gets his tentacles for the first time and he's like killing people in the hospital room. And that was very horror filled, man.
Yes.
And they finally bring this guy in, and he did okay, but you could tell there were still limitations on what he could do because they have.
There's some parts that are fucking obvious. So, to give you some context, so over here there is no such a thing as a movie rating. Okay. So the entire idea of they couldn't show this because it's like it wouldn't plus the rating. It just doesn't. It doesn't really translate, right?
Okay.
Here a movie either is approved or not, right? There's no sections. There's no either PG or PG-13 or R-rated. Okay. No, movies either okay for minors or it's not.
Okay.
So me seeing a scene like when all the spoiler alert, when all the Illuminati get killed.
Okay.
Was so weird because you can tell it was supposed to be very violent, but they couldn't make it. Like this one lady, she gets fucking her torso cut off.
Yeah.
But you don't get to see it. There's like there's a weird camera trick. To give you the idea of what's happening.
Right.
I just found that entire scene so silly.
Yeah.
Like it's and I do agree that as much as I feel like I was watching a cartoon episode, it was a really cool cartoon episode. The scenes where the Scarlet Witch would like chase him down, she would like look like a spider, going really fast.
Yeah, she was awesome.
That was cool as fuck, yeah.
Yeah, she was cool.
Yeah, the plot was silly as fuck, but
it was. Yeah.
But the scenes themselves.
Yeah, but I mean that's the MCU as a whole. Like, all right, another example would be like Thor: Love and Thunder just came out, and I was gonna take the wife to go see it this weekend, but from what I'm hearing, and I should have expected this, and maybe you might call me stupid for even being fooled by this, but it just sounds like to me it's just a romantic comedy, and I just don't have interest in that. To me, I want to see Christian Bale. I'm about to go. I can get really frustrated here. You bring in Christian Bale to play the villain, and he's only in it, from what I hear, for like 10 minutes. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing?
So wait, they show him. He's like in half of the trailers, right?
Yeah,
But they show him for like 10 minutes in the movie.
like
That's
10, 15 tops. But I mean, like he's barely in it. He's not even like so they're just focusing on Thor and the mighty Thor's relationship so much. They're not even worried about Gore, who if finally we have a villain that I'm like, okay, I can get behind that. He looks cool. He looks I mean about as scary as you can make him. I mean, you can't make him like look like a freaking zombie, I guess you could say. But then again, they did that in Multiverse of Madness. So, but it's just it's
From
like
what I've heard, he looked like Voldemort in the comics, so they really had to change his design.
Yeah. I heard that they didn't want people to start making memes out of it, so they changed it. And apparently, he wears like a thong in the comics too.
For real, bro.
Apparently, like some of his like costumes, and even Christian Bale was like, "Yeah, I don't think anybody wants to see that."
I'm not fitting in that.
No, but I mean, you bring him in, and so that's the thing. Like I was telling a coworker today that Christian Bale. It's sad because Christian Bale. Besides, and I'm not saying the Christopher Nolan Batman movies are not like you said, they're not cinema, because those movies are like, honestly, they're like the golden age of Batman in my opinion. Like I don't think their movies have been any better. Like I love Ben Affleck's Batman. I thought he was brutal. Robert Pattinson's okay, but I just feel like it's just another rehash of what Christian Bale brought to it, is my opinion. But like you have Christian Bale who does these like Academy Award winning roles where he like loses all this weight, and he puts his like whole soul into a freaking role. And he's like, all right, well, I'll do an MCU villain. I'll play him. And then you only let him have like 10 minutes of screen time. That's a slap in the face to me. That is disgusting. I can't, when I think about it, I get pissed. Like, I'm glad we're talking about it, but it makes me.
No, I'm glad you brought this up, because I also wanted to watch it. And I was not aware of this. I understand that most of it, as you said, is a rom-com, but I was there to see Christian Bale beat the shit out of Thor. That's what I'm buying the ticket for,
Yeah, why wouldn't you? I don't want to see him like trying to get back with Jane. I don't want to see that. Like, I mean, I like Korg, and I like the Valkyrie and all that. I like all them characters, but it's same. The Guardians show. Yeah, the Guardians show up too, and that's fine. But I think, and that's another thing too, is I made a little segment of a video about it, and I've talked about like it's too much humor bad for like a story. It's too much humor bad. Sometimes it's not too bad. Like if that's your intent, okay. But if you're gonna bring in like a villain like Gore, right? And the way Christian Bale plays him, I hear he's very sinister. He's very murderous, right? I mean, he's a god butcher, right? He kills gods. Right. That's the whole thing. Mm-hmm. If you're gonna have that, then why are you trying to make it into a comedy? I don't get that. I mean, you should have chosen another villain if you're gonna do that.
Yeah, no, I completely agree on the part that the MCU uses way too much comedy, and I would not mind it if it were good. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, just compare the comedic elements in the Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy in MCU Spider-Man trilogy. Like, Sam Raimi didn't really use much comedy, but there were a few jokes. I mean, that's kind of Spider-Man's thing, right? Yeah. He just shoots a bunch of flicks, a bunch of zingers. At the end is what he gets his ass handed to him, right?
Yeah, right.
And they were not as focused on it, but they were funny, It gives me a chuckle here and there.
Yeah.
Not in Spider-Man, even the parts with fucking what's his name, the editor, James Jonah Jameson.
Oh yeah.
Those are fun. They are comical, But then you have like the MCU, and I just cannot. The jokes in that one are so childish. I just cannot. There's this one part, you've probably seen No Way Home. Oh yeah, we talked about it.
Yeah.
And there's just one part where they make fun of Dr. Octopus because his name is
name. Yeah.
It goes on for way too long. It goes on for like an entire minute. And it's legit not that funny.
Was that supposed to be funny?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's his name. That's been his name since I don't know, since his inception.
Ever. You know what's funnier? It's super funny that in Spider-Man 2 they make the same joke, but it is funny. There's like Jonah Jameson, right? He's talking about Dr. Octopus says, a guy named Otto Octavius ends up with 8 limbs. Isn't that funny, right? And that's it.
That's
Yeah, that's
right.
as long as you gotta make it, right? And that's great. That works. It might give a
Yeah.
chuckle, it might
In
not,
that
but at least it's
same
not
scene,
imposing.
yeah, in that
Yeah.
same scene, he said, "We got to figure out a name for him," and they were like naming off these names, and I goes, "Doctor Strange," and he goes,
Strange.
"Oh no, that was already used."
Yeah, it's taken. Yeah,
So
exactly. You see?
they were already building the multiverse.
Yeah, of course. But an example that was funny, right? That
Yeah,
is,
yeah,
but it's a quick joke. It's not too much. I think. But the problem with MCU's jokes, they linger for too long.
too long, man.
They
Too
focus on it
long.
for so much that I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think yeah, all right. Here's a good example. It's like yeah, you mentioned No Way Home. How many times did Doctor Strange say Scooby Doo this shit? He said that shit like 3 times. Do you remember that when they're in the Sanctorum and Ned and MJ and Peter they're like down there and he's like Scooby Doo this shit. And then he waited
You
and
know
he said,
what?
Scooby Doo this shit. It's like the writer of that line was like, oh, this is funny. It's going to get everybody
Yeah.
like laughing. And I'm
Again,
like, okay, I was done the
I
second time.
yeah. No, I was done the first. I was done. You know when I was done when I heard it in the trailer. I mean, even then it was just.
Yeah.
I remember in the trailer, me and my buddies, right? When we would watch the trailers, we were just looking for the other 2 Spider-Men to show up.
Yeah.
And so every time we would like the trailer would linger on a joke like that, we would just groan. We'd be like, okay, yeah, whatever. Let me just show me Andrew Garfield now, right?
Yeah.
Show me Tobey Maguire.
Show me the goats. I want to see that
Yeah.
because like see my thing is too, and I guess that's another good topic I can ask you. I mean, from what I'm hearing, you don't seem
Mhm.
like you're a huge fan of Tom Holland as Spider-Man. Is that correct?
That is
No?
absolutely correct.
Okay, why? Tell me.
Well, all right. So here's the thing. So when I said that I didn't care much for superheroes, I was being a liar. I care for one superhero, and that is Spider-Man.
Okay. That's a
That
good
is,
one.
that
Like,
is, yeah. There's this one character, one superhero, which I just adore since childhood. I have like a bunch of his comics, right? I loved all the movies, even the bad ones. I loved all of them.
mhm.
Then Tom Holland shows up. My problem with Tom Holland is he really does not encapsulate what Spider-Man is for me, what Spider-Man stands for.
Right.
Many people shat on Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, and I say, okay, you can shit on the movie because the movie, I can admit, was pretty badly paced, but his portrayal of the character, I think, is grandiose. There is this there's duality, right? He's one of the few heroes who's him becoming a superhero makes his life more miserable. Really, it's not the
Right.
classic, nerd gets superpowers, becomes super popular, becomes a Chad. No,
Right.
it's really just okay. So he would like to live his life, but he can't. He's held back because he
Right.
has to become the Spider-Man. He has to do this, and the reason why he has to is it's his responsibility, right? It just so happened that he has these powers, and now he has to use them for good.
Mhm.
You really don't see any of that in none of Tom Holland's trilogy. Most of it is just him trying to suck up to Iron Man, trying to, it's not even, there's no origin story. It's Spider-Man trying to be Iron Man. Iron Man keeps giving him his toys. He keeps giving
Preach
him,
it.
the cool suits. Yeah,
Preach.
and in the first movie, Homecoming, I was on board with that because I thought, okay, so maybe they're going something. Okay, this is a new Spider-Man. He doesn't always have to be traumatized by Uncle Ben's death. All right, I can get
Okay.
behind that. And he's been kind of a dork,
Mhm.
which I can also get behind. Okay, it's
But-
first he's learning. So I got off the movie with a pretty good feeling in my mouth, right? I was like, okay, so this is where they're going. I can't wait for the good times to roll, right? Then Far From Home comes out, and I know that Far From Home is like one of the most beloved movies. Like I hear people, Far From Home is the biggest piece of shit movie I would watch The Amazing Spider-Man 2 a million times over rather than
Preach.
see Far From Home even just one more time.
Preach.
So Tom Holland is still like his Spider-Man is still a fucking okay. So here's the thing: I get that he's supposed to be a nerd, right? He's supposed to be a goofy, right?
Right.
But you can make him a fucking idiot. his Spider-Man is actually like clinically stupid. He does
Yep.
a bunch of mistakes that are just inexcusable. And
Right.
again,
Yeah.
I wasn't feeling like I was watching a Spider-Man story. I was feeling like I was watching a cosplayer of
Correct.
Spider-Man.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's my problem. In No Way Home, they did rectify this a little bit
A little bit. Yeah.
in the very final scene. He loses everything. He doesn't have his friends anymore. Nobody remembers him. He's in the he's in the gutter, bottom of the barrel, worst time of his life.
Yeah.
He still tries to be Spider-Man. He makes his own suit since he doesn't
Right.
have Tony Stark's toys anymore. He makes his own suit and he goes, saving the city, a city that doesn't remember him, that doesn't recognize him as a hero. Now, in that moment, I kind of accepted him. I said,
Yeah.
all right, but it took him 3 movies to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Phil, and it's really the real end. So yeah, I went on kind of a rant there. Sorry about that, but
No, dude.
that's how I feel about Tom Holland's
No,
Spider-Man.
man, everything you said, dude. I mean, I think I respect you even more because I look, the thing about this is like, I think we're in the minority when it comes to this kind of thing
Oh, yeah.
because I think the general consensus is that most people do like Tom better than Toby or Andrew. And I don't really understand why. It was kind of weird because, and I know they were probably advertising, they were trying to amp the movie up. And when Homecoming came out, Stan
Mhm.
Lee had even said that this was his favorite version of the character. He was talking about, he's talking about Tom Holland.
Mhm.
God rest his soul. I hope he's in heaven. I really do, but you're wrong. Sorry.
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
doesn't know what he's talking
I
about.
mean, he wrote the character. And okay, so what can I really say, right? But everything that you wrote, everything that the way you made him, the
Mhm.
faults that he has, the thing that about Spider-Man, like you mentioned before, is that his struggle with what he wants to do and what his destiny is. And his destiny is to be Spider-Man, and he has to constantly have to fight that. You know what I mean? Because he's
Exactly.
young. That's what makes him relatable. He's young. He's going to college. He's you know trying to be with Gwen and MJ. Eventually MJ. I think usually in the comics it's Gwen and then
It's
MJ. I
going
think
first, yeah,
yeah.
and
And
then she
like
kind of.
yeah, you see, yeah. You see that struggle with him because like he doesn't, sometimes he doesn't even want to go on. And that's one of the things I was telling my wife about it. At the end of Andrew Garfield's second movie, and I'm one of the majority where I like that movie. I like that movie a lot, and I'm like you. I will watch that movie well over anything Tom's been in. And I mean that's a fact. I mean, even No Way Home. The best parts about No Way Home is Andrew and Toby. I mean, let's be
Part where
honest.
Tom
And
was in
and
it. Yeah,
and
exactly.
the Goblin, you got Willem Dafoe back, strong enough to have it all, yet too weak to take it. Like that was,
Oh yes, I love that
dude.
quote too. I love it so much.
I say that shit all the time. I'll be washing the dishes and I'm saying it. It's awesome, dude. It's like that's what made that movie good. Nothing that Tom did, like you say. Him. Have you seen? They released the script for No Way Home. Have you seen that at all? Have
I
you
have
read what
not
the script
skimmed
said?
through it. No, why?
Well, I can just to give you a gist. It says something along the lines of Peter is alone and realizing that he has to face the world once again is just Spider-Man, not Peter. And he says from remembering the people he's come across and the people he's lost, and then the people he had just met, and so they're referring to Toby and Andrew. He forms his own identity, and it's saying that as he's jumping out the window and he gets that call on his phone, he's got like a radar on his phone, and it's he's going to do whatever. And I like that. I thought it was written a little bit more poetically, but essentially what it was saying was he's taken everything that he's learned and he's finally become his version of Spider-Man, which again, like you
Well,
say,
that's it.
I did accept that. At the end, I was like, okay, I can vibe with that. But see, I want it more. I want it more immediately. I'll say, all right, well,
Yeah, I
now
want
it's
to see
time.
that movie.
Now I finally get the Spider-Man that I've been wanting since Toby. Really, I mean, I love, like you say, I love Andrew. I think Andrew, he deserves a third movie. I think
He really does.
maybe we'll eventually get it. I don't know, man. Sony's so weird right now.
I don't
It's
know.
but what I'll say is just to top the Spider-Man talk is that I agree with everything you said. I think you're 100% right. I think he's a big baby in my opinion. Like I just think
Really?
and it's not Tom Holland's fault. It's just the way they wrote him, and also maybe a little bit of Tom because Tom, everything he plays in, like even in Uncharted, right? Have you seen Uncharted, the
I'm
movie?
so glad we talked about this. Yes,
Yeah,
Tom
I've seen
Holland.
that. He did
Yes, I did.
okay. He
I
did all
did.
right, but he still came
I
off like a kid to me.
I mean, well, the problem is, so when And I know what's happening. I think I know what's happening with Tom Holland. So you know when Johnny Depp, after he, uh, I'm sorry, after he played what's his face, Pirates of the Caribbean,
Yeah, Jack
Jack
Sparrow.
Sparrow.
Yeah.
Every character after that had to be Jack Sparrow.
Oh
Like
shoot, that's
he always
right.
has to be very weird.
Yeah.
Like no matter what he was playing, he always has to be like this very weird
Yeah.
character who does weird hand gestures.
Oh yeah.
Tom
Yeah.
Holland, same shit. I don't know what his first role was, but he at some point in his career he made a role where he's being a little bitch, right? And now in every
Yeah.
movie he's in, he has to be a little bitch. Like you
Every movie.
cannot, I love Uncharted so much, right? And that's like a game series that was born by trying to emulate movies, right?
Hmm.
And to have the movie made based on the games that are based on movies, that's a big thing.
Yeah.
That's nothing to scoff at. But it did scoff at it. They put, the first popular actor I could find, Tom Holland. And instead of trying to adapt the actor to the movie, they adapted the character to the actor. So, Tom, what do you usually play? You play, this little bitch. Okay, we're going to make Nathan Drake into a little bitch. This is what they did.
Okay.
This is what I did to my boy. Like, I don't want to be crude.
Okay.
This is what they did. Like, you cannot have Nathan Drake,
Mhm.
a guy that kills so many guys. The guy's
Dude,
he's
his
like
body
Spider-Man,
count
has a bunch of
ridiculous.
he even has like a trophy in Uncharted 4 for killing 1,000 men.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. Yep.
So and he doesn't the guy doesn't blink, right? The guy fucking kills these guys and goes to Helena and kisses her, right?
Yeah.
In the movie, like he keeps saying, "Oh, gee, I'm so sorry," right? And she's shooting this guy. Oh fuck! Oh no!
Right.
I get it that it's supposed to be comedic, but you can't do
Yeah.
it to my guy. Why would you do a brother like that? I don't get it.
Yeah, like I guess I can kind of see what they were trying to do. Like this Nathan Drake wasn't the Nathan Drake we've seen in the games yet. But the thing
Right.
about it is that like you could say that, but then you can't have stuff from the other games happen in the movie. Like the whole plane sequence when he's falling out of it. You have that from Uncharted 3. Like what the fuck are you doing? Like what story are you following here? Like cuz one minute you're saying this is young Nathan Drake, and I'm fine with that. But then you're doing stuff from Uncharted 3, so it's like what's the next movie going to be about? Because they sprinkled Uncharted 4 in here and a lot of 3. A lot of 4 and a lot of 3.
A lot of 3, yeah. I mean,
And then the end credit scene is basically straight up 3. Did you see Mark Wahlberg as Sully? He looked exactly like he did in that flashback sequence in Uncharted 3 with the flower shirt on. He had the tank top underneath. He even had the mustache, dude.
And I don't understand. Like, I get it was supposed to be like a joke, right? Of him finally getting the mustache.
Yeah,
but
right.
couldn't he have had the mustache during the entire movie? Because I remember seeing the trailers and I thought, okay, if I squint, I can see Tom Holland as Nathan Drake. But if I squint at fucking what's his face again?
Mark
the guy who plays
Wahlberg.
Sully.
Mark Wahlberg.
I do not see Sully. Like that's Mark Wahlberg. That's not Sullivan.
Yeah, that one picture of Tom Holland, I think it's promotional art when he's kind of wearing the same attire he does in 3. It's like the I don't know, is the color beige? It's like a beige shirt, and he's got the gun holsters.
Yeah.
He looked cool. He looked a lot like him. I will say, like he did look.
I was hopeful at that moment in time. I was hopeful that it would be a decent thing to watch.
But he doesn't really even shoot anybody until like the very end, and you barely see it because you can't. Again, like you said, there's no ratings where you're at, but obviously they're not going to show that because they're trying to keep it family oriented. But that's a lot of what Nathan Drake does. He is like the most violent ass treasure hunter I've ever seen in my life. Like it's a fun game. It's so much fun. But like you just said, you get achievements for being a psycho asshole.
No, yeah, I agree. Yeah, the entire movie seemed like you know what it seemed like? You know those roller coaster rides at like Disneyland where they try to emulate some part of like movies, but it looks cool while you're riding it, but it really is kind of cheap. It's a bunch of cheap plastic trying to look at like movie movie sets. Well, this is what this movies look like to me. A bunch of cosplayers, right? That never played the game. They might have read the summary on the back of the box.
Correct. Yeah.
They saw a few of the trailers. They saw the trailer on Uncharted 3, with the falling airplane, the kind of shit. And they made a movie out of that. Like, you have Chloe Fraser, who has no Australian accent,
None.
Doesn't
Yeah.
act at all like Chloe Fraser. Like I don't
No.
know who this chick is. She's not Chloe. Like give her a different name. Because at least with Sully and Nate, okay, they're not the same Sully and Nate, but you can see that there's the spirit of the characters linger on, right? They still have
Sure.
a similar relationship, you know.
Yeah.
But with Chloe, she's just like, if she hadn't been named Chloe, I would have never in a million years made the connection between the two characters.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, she kind of resembles her a bit, but I mean,
That's
not much.
again cosplayers. You can't just be a cosplayer and expect me to associate you with the character you're supposed to be portraying. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Like she was fine, like you say. I mean, yeah, she didn't really act like Chloe from the games. I mean, she was fine though. I mean, she out of all the stuff that I have a problem with, she's like the least, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I get. I mean, the entire movie was fine.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
But this is where what grinded my gears. Like, is this what we're shooting for? Fine. You know, one of the most marvelous game series.
That's true.
that you were born by deconstructing movies. You make a movie out of that, and it's just fine. I don't want to be a downer, but like I remember, I went to watch it with like a bunch of a few friends who did not play the games, and they said, you know, I didn't want to. They were saying like, oh, it was an alright movie, it was good, and I just did not want to ruin it for them, right?
Yeah.
But I knew if I would open my mouth, I would do nothing but complain. So I just kept my mouth shut.
Yeah. No, that's fair, because I think that, again, you go with the general public. I think most people, because I mean, I don't know. Have you heard anything negative from a majority of viewers? I mean, is it? I mean, I know you don't really have ratings. Well, you said you don't have ratings like that, but as far as what you're hearing about people saying, yeah, but like, have you heard any negative? What's the general consensus over there? Does it seem like a lot of people like it?
It was a fairly forgettable experience. You know, it's just one movie like many other. You know, it's just another blockbuster. It was fine, exactly like that. It's nothing too great, nothing too, just something you go watch with your buddies and, you know, never watch again. So nothing particularly negative. It's just there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's the general consensus I got.
Yeah, I will say I think it's a beautifully shot movie. I think it's really nice to look at. Like I have it on 4K. I bought it when it came out because I did like it enough that I wanted to get it because I have
it on 4K.
Yeah, I bought pretty much all my movies on 4K now. But and it's more expensive that way. But it's just I have 4K players with the Xbox and the PlayStation, so I'm like, why not use them?
Might as well.
4K TV. So but it does look really, really nice. I've kind of been putting off watching it again because I'm like you, like I like it, but I don't like it that much where I want to watch it again. But I like it enough where I wanted to get the movie. So I'm kind of in one of those like, I don't hate it.
Yeah, you need an excuse to watch it. Like, I don't know, make a drinking game out of it, something, because you're not watching it for the experience itself, you know, for the experience alone.
Yeah,
that's what I
mean. One more thing I'll say about the movie is that part where the auction sequence in the movie was straight up from Uncharted 4, but it was done way worse. Like in Uncharted 4, when you had Sam, Sully, and Nathan, and you guys are like, so Sully, he's talking to Nadine, and then your brother, he's acting like he's like a butler, and that's where like he tells you to steal the key card from one of the other waiters that was going around. And I just thought that was way more like, it was just a better plan as a whole. You had more people involved, and I think it was way better. And in the movie, it felt so cheap. You know what I mean? You got Tom Holland over there holding his earpiece, and they made a joke about that in the trailer. You know, make him look suspicious and all that. But like you say, What were you gonna say? Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say that, pretty much it's just so incongruent, right? Like Sully in the movie is supposed to be this experienced fortune hunter. He hires this fucking goofy ass kid, right?
Yeah.
No manpower beside him at all. Yeah, let's go fucking steal the auction house. Like, what are you doing with your life, man? Like,
yeah, but you gotta remember, right? He said that he knew his brother and that his brother had told him that Nate was like this master. Yeah, it's stupid. I don't even know why.
It's dumb. You cannot sell it to me.
Yeah, no, you can. Like, you really can.
And also the fact that they retook the Lost Brother thing. Okay, as much as I like Uncharted and Uncharted 4, the whole long Lost Brother thing is so silly. And of all the things, of all the elements of the games that you could get, you take that.
You take that one, yeah. The weakest part that everybody has literally said is, oh yeah, okay, maybe stupid might be too far. It's silly, yeah. You think that's a better word? Like it's not exactly out the realm of possibility, but the fact that you haven't mentioned him not one fucking time this whole time, just mentioned him one time in passing. Oh yeah, when I was little, my brother kicked me in the balls, and then just go along with it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? At least you established you had a brother.
I completely agree. No, I completely agree.
He just comes out of nowhere, and then he like introduces them to Elena, and Elena's like, "Huh? Who the hell is this?"
Yeah, exactly. Elena reacted just like the audience. She's like, "And now you have a brother." Pretty much. But I mean, but I do kind of forgive it, at least in Uncharted 4, because it does set up this great just exposition, right? Where Nate is trying to lead a normal life. He's trying to get clean, but then this brother comes along out of nowhere and gets him back. That's kind of something that I liked.
Yeah, and
ruining his home.
Yeah, and the big twist is like Sam is saying that he's in trouble, and he's not in trouble. It's just he's just
that got me good. Yeah,
he's just greedy, man. He just. Yeah, it's like he gets him out of his that's the thing. It's kind of when you look at it like after I've beaten that game again. That's probably another one I've beaten several times because I just love I love how the world and just like the gameplay. It's addicting, But the one thing I'll say is I like I like that at the end was kind of interesting, but like his brother is a real piece of shit for just kind of coming into his life. Doesn't really know anything about him, doesn't know what he's got going on, and just says, "Hey, I need you for this job." And it's like, and Nate, because he just can't get away from that life. That's why they show you at the beginning of the game when you're up in the attic and you can shoot the little targets with the Nerf gun. Yeah, you see all this other stuff from all like the things he's collected going, because every place he's ever went to, El Dorado, Shambhala, and all that stuff, like every place he went to kept getting destroyed. So he could never really have any full-on physical proof that he went there besides just having a coin here and there, or, whatever like that. So like you see that he wants to get back out there. So I guess they were like, okay, well, that's not bad. But it's just the fact that his brother is just kind of a dick. Just like, oh yeah, by the way, I need your help with something. And I'm not really in trouble. I just want money.
Yeah, that was, I mean, yeah, I might not like it. I was kind of into that, because he just came, and just to kind of ruin his life.
Mm-hmm.
And for him to be revealed to be like a complete piece of shit, just not, it was kind of satisfying. It kind of made sense, I think.
So do you think, we'll say this and we'll get ready to wrap it on up. Do you think there's a possibility of them continuing that story? Because at the end of Uncharted, you see Sam and Sully kind of go their own way, like they're going to do something. Now they did have the Chloe and Nadine. Yeah, they had that. I actually just played that on PS5. Just see I played. By the way, it runs like shit on PS5. You can tell they focus. Yeah, you can tell they focused on 4. 4 is really clean, but the Lost Legacy. That
Lost Legacy,
yeah, that one's shit on PS5.
Oh, that's so bad. Because I did get the collection too, but I only played 4. And that plays great.
It seemed like the Lost Legacy. I mean, maybe they'll release an update for it. I don't think so at this point, but
I wouldn't.
It's so stuttery, man. I got stuck in a wall a couple times playing that game. But anyway, the main question is really, do you think they'll continue that story with Sully and Sam, or do you think they'll go another direction? Do you think we'll get one at all? What do you think?
Well, I mean, we definitely are not seeing anything more of Drake, and I would be really remiss if they did. And I really like that. It kind of ended on a high note. I respect him for that. So I think that I really don't see why we wouldn't. The Lost Legacy was not. It was pretty good. It was all right. I liked it.
Yeah.
Maybe if you put more beloved characters, such as Sully, I think they would cash in a lot from that. Like, I don't know what's happening at Naughty Dog. They've been working for like 3 years on a multiplayer extension. Like, I really don't know what's happening in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't mind it at all, and I think they would profit from that if they did kind of a spin-off. That's what Uncharted can be now, just spin-offs.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, but then you got to kind of watch out, because like I've heard some people say like you can continue with his daughter, but like if you do that, it'll be a lot like Tomb Raider, So it's like You don't want to be like a copycat. Obviously, I think Naughty Dog makes better games than Crystal Dynamics. It's not that I don't like Tomb Raider. Matter of fact, I just played the whole trilogy a few months ago because I was when they said that a fourth one was coming out. I'd never finished Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which, by the way, I mean it's it's okay. But it has the best gameplay, right? Check this out, best gameplay, and I want to get back to Uncharted for a second because I have one thing I want to tell you before I leave you for the night. But the best gameplay is in Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and you barely even get to. There's barely any combat at all. It's mostly just puzzles and I guess tomb raiding, right? But I mean, barely any combat at all. Have you played that?
Yeah, I played the entire trilogy. I actually played it as it was coming out. I played the first one in 2013. The Rise of Tomb Raider in 2016 was it?
Yeah.
And Shadow also on the year it came out. And the thing is, it's kind of weird. It's like you said. So they kept getting better gameplay-wise game after game.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I kept getting more underwhelmed with each game. I think the first one, I was just a real impressionable teenager. And I just really liked it. Oh yeah, it was really cool. Just fucking murder, explosions. It's the Tomb Raider game with the least tomb raiding. But yeah, I really liked it. I mean, it was done well, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that first one was great.
Yeah, with Rise, Rise I think is the most balanced one, between combat and puzzle solving.
Mm-hmm.
I think they did it good there. Yeah, with Shadow, I honestly cannot give an honest review because I don't remember any of it. Like, I got the Platinum Trophy in the game, but I don't...
Oh, wow.
I could not tell you what happened there. Like, it's so forgettable that I just...
Yeah, and it's crazy because you see, you just said unforgettable. You just said forgettable, excuse me. Yeah. And it's crazy because that is an end-of-the-world situation in that game, And for it to be forgettable, it's like, well, what did they...
Yeah, they were hyping it up so much, right?
Yeah.
But, like what can you do, right? You can't... At the end, like, the final boss is identical to the final boss in other games. You just keep shooting people until you win. Until whatever threat, whatever world-ending threat caused by whatever relic is happening. Like, Uncharted does it way better. It gives you a greater sense of scale. You get to see these lost cities. You get to see, the impact of their lost treasure, which always has, like, some great power. You get to see all of that. Yeah. And then you get to shoot people until you win. In Tomb Raider, it's never really seen. They keep talking big. Oh yeah, the old relic of Ravaganoush or whatever.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, that's great, buddy. Just shoot him in the head and it's over.
Yeah. Jonah, I'm here.
Oh my God, yes. And I'm gonna tell you what, another thing, and then I gotta go because it's kind of late. But I thought, like, in the first game, you could see that they had, like, this character development kind of thing in mind. Right. Lara started off as as a timid girl, and she was going her way to become, like, this fierce warrior, and I really liked that. They kind of dropped that. They kind of stopped giving a shit.
I agree.
She stays the same character between all of Rise and all of Shadow. I would argue that in Shadow she becomes so fucking annoying.
Dude,
she said, "Fucking Jonah, Jonah,
I'm here." She says that one a lot. Real quick, let me tell you this, and it's actually pretty. We were talking about Uncharted. Just a cool thing. Mm-hmm. I know you're not in the States, but Nolan North is actually going to be only an hour away from my house, August 6th. So
where do you live again?
I live in Madison Heights, Virginia. Actually, I'm not too far from the high school where me and you met. Actually, it's about 20 minutes or so from the high school.
Oh, so it's still that area. Cool.
Yeah, I'm still here. I work about an hour away, but me and the wife are renting a house over here. It's actually not too bad. Actually, it doesn't take too long to get there. With gas prices over here have gone up substantially, so that sucks.
It's the same all over the world.
Yeah. It's really bad. But yeah, he's going to be like an hour away from my house. There's like a Comic-Con in Roanoke, which is like an hour from here. So I was going to buy some tickets on Friday and go see him. And I think it'd be really cool to hopefully maybe get a picture with him and stuff like that. So I've always wanted to meet Nathan Drake. So I'm pretty excited about that.
He was in the movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he was, man. That
just
was so
to end
awesome.
things up. Yeah, just to end things out. I think that, like, that's the one most enjoyable part of the entire movie.
Yeah.
You can see the real Nathan Drake on a fucking on vacation. Yeah, like
Yeah.
there's a fucking Tom Holland tells him, "Oh yeah, I just got out of a plane and all that
Yeah,
shit."
just jumped out of a plane. Yeah.
He says, "Oh yeah, that happened to me once, I think."
Yeah, I've done. Yeah, oh yeah, done that. Yeah, I've been there, done. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
What is real quick? What does he say to him when Nathan Drake and Chloe leave? What is Nolan North say to them? He turns his chair, like turns his head, and he says something. Do you remember what he says?
I think it says something like "good luck." I don't remember.
And yeah, something like that. I've
Yeah.
been trying to rack my brain. I thought he said something else. So he just said good luck. I thought it was something
It's
more
nothing
special.
memorable. No.
Okay, so he just said good luck, and then
Yeah.
and
And the
then went
best
back
part
chilling
was,
on.
the
Yeah.
best part for me was, "Oh yeah, that happened to me too." That's like that made the movie to me. I was like,
Yeah, that was awesome. But yeah, we'll go ahead and wrap it on up, man.
all right.
Jan, I appreciate you for coming on, man. It's always a joy to have you on, dude. I'm hoping we'll stay consistent. We'll have you back on, man. We still got, dude. We've been going for an hour and 20 minutes. I could talk to you for 3 hours. I'm tired too. I gotta get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. So
I mean, we could make it. You know, if we organize enough, we could make like
Yeah.
a special episode.
Oh yeah, no, that's why I let it go a little bit longer today, because like an hour sometimes is not nearly enough. Before, you know, look how we were going from topic to topic. It's just topic. It's so easy to do. But look, we'll go ahead and end it right here, guys. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. And even the ones that haven't, I'll have this up on the YouTube channel. I'll have it in snippets. And I'll put it on TikTok as well. I have a linked tree in my bio for Facebook, on Instagram, and Twitter. I'll share this video probably a dozen times. I'll try to get Jan to share it a few times too, if he wouldn't mind. And, try to get people on, try to get more people in the conversation. Yeah, with that being said, Jan, you got any last words for the people? I think I might have just lost him. Well, that's not good. Okay, well, if I lost him for sure, just if you wouldn't mind, would you please leave a like on this video, liking the fan page as well. And if you go over to YouTube, give us a sub, like the video, and more videos will come, more podcasts will come, and we got some great stuff coming. So with that being said, I love you all. Me and Jan both love you, even though I don't know where he's at. And stay dead, my friends. Good night.